Hi, welcome to Two Non-Doctors. I'm Liz Mealy.
Hi, Maria Shahada. How's it going?
It's good. Everybody wanted to see my couch, and I didn't want to sit in a chair, so you could see little remnants of my couch.
Who
Everybody
wanted to
really
see
enjoyed.
the couch?
Well, we posted that clip about Coucher Day,
Yeah.
and
And so people were like,
let's see this couch if it's so magical. Also, people were like, Coucher Day's not that bad of a holiday. Like, you really got some downvotes on making fun of me. People are like, I would have followed that account. So
downvotes for making fun of you or coming up with it. Why didn't I get credit for that?
Sure, I didn't even come up with Catterday. Like, Catterday was a thing someone invented, and I was like, yeah, I want to be a part of that. I want to celebrate that. And you were like, hey, someone has to start these holidays. Why not me?
Right.
Why not me and making fun of my friend?
So Couch Days, I actually haven't seen your couch yet.
I know. I'm so excited for you to put your butt on it. It's so lovely. I've been watching so much TV on it. I don't think people understand. I haven't had a couch in 11 years. So it's like when somebody hasn't had a boyfriend for a while and they're just like a little aggressive. They're like, oh, me and my boyfriend, and then my boyfriend, and here's a picture of my boyfriend. And then you remember like, oh, they were single for so long. Let them have this.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of how I feel.
I was like, well, you've had a couch. No, you haven't. You haven't had like a living room or a couch in 8 years at least. Longer.
Yeah. So this is big for me. This is when people make announcements about an engagement, I want to make like a couch announcement. I want to be like, I have a couch. If you want to send gifts, you can. You can if you like. That's where I am emotionally.
What was I was gonna do a show called oh no, what was it about? Like staying on people's couches and calling it so far so good. What was it? I forget what.
I like Sofa So Good.
So far so good.
I think we're gonna start some like real spin-off series. Like I see a future of just the weirdest things we've come up with. It's gonna be like little like, so it's like Two Non-Doctors, but then the spin-off is like, show us your rashes and Sofa So Good, and like just like all these like weird things where people are like, why do we hang out with these women? They're like, they have some great ideas.
I absolutely never want to do show us your rashes. That's it's all good.
I mean, the fact that we had to be like, talk about your uncircumcised dick. We want to hear about it.
We never, maybe we did. Maybe towards the end we did ask for.
Yeah, we just not graphically. And everybody very respectful. I have to say, the most emails we've ever gotten a topic, and a lot of really thoughtful, respectful emails about dicks.
It really could have gone very poorly, and it didn't. And I'd like to thank.
And it didn't. And that's what I respect about you guys. You fucking listen, thoughtful, no pictures. We love that about you.
Thanks so much.
I'm 10 days off sugar. And I think I'm the one in the better mood. How rare is that? Oh, you got angry with that one. That was.
Well, I mean, you are right. I did have a tub of ice cream before we started. It wasn't a tub. It was like the thing about Ben and Jerry's, like the cookie dough one, is that they're so few and far between that when you get one, you want more. And so
you're an archaeologist.
No, that was my joke on Twitter and Instagram.
Is it? I literally didn't even know that was your joke.
I said excavating like the cookie dough from the ice cream, like an archaeologist digs for dinosaur bones.
Is that recent?
Yeah, well, it was old, and then I revamped it to Instagram.
Have you found old tweets and been like, this is so good, and nobody saw it? Like, I can't.
Yeah, and then they still didn't see it. But yeah, so like, and then I got in trouble. Well, the first time I got in trouble because it was like archaeologists don't dig for dinosaur bones, paleontologists do. And so the second one I had to put in Instagram. I know it's paleontologists. And then somebody was like, okay, I was going to call you out on that.
I can't with fact checking the silliest of ideas.
No, I like it. No, yeah. Silly ideas. You're just like, all right.
Oh, our podcast does definitely tell us we're wrong.
Yeah.
But like, I had people like with my eyelash joke that were like, it's not that expensive. And you're like, first of all, I wrote it 8 years ago. Second of all, just because you're seeing it now. Second of all, somewhere out there, someone's charging an astronomical amount of money for this. Just why are we correcting something that doesn't matter when that's not the point of the joke? I cannot do this. But that's also how I feel about
Oh, you froze.
cakes.
No, it's also how you feel about what?
That's also how I feel about if the is about communication and you understood what I wrote, why does it matter?
It matters.
It doesn't.
It does.
It doesn't though.
No, the whole of the internet thinks it doesn't matter. And then, but how are you supposed to communicate if everything falls to shit? Nobody's paying attention to grammar and spelling, and I'd like being corrected.
I understand in a book, I understand in a magazine, I understand in a dissertation, like I understand in like important stuff, but like you're not correcting my text messages.
I want to.
But you won't, because I'll murder you in sleep.
Every time you abbreviate episode with EPS, I want to murder you.
I've gotten better. I do correct myself at least 70% of the time now. I just miss them because I do the posting so fast. But
yeah, I stopped like correcting you when you send the episode description. I stopped sending back, like, just made some corrections and sent it back to you, because you would inevitably be like, cool, thanks. Like, so I was like, so I just go in and correct it and don't tell you.
Oh, that's fine. I'm fine with that. But yeah. I don't, there wasn't no, that, like, of course, like that's being sent to you for corrections. It's when something's being sent not for corrections. Like if I send you a script and you go, hey, Muffin, there's these spelling mistakes and this doesn't make sense. That's important. But if I'm like, hey, is this funny? And well, that's not even a good example because I want you to correct it. It's just that, like,
if you're just sharing a couch your day picture and in it I correct your use of you're gonna be like, can you just laugh at the joke, bitch?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This is supposed to be a bonding experience between two humans, and you went and put red ink into it. Why would you do that? Why would you do that?
Because it matters. It all matters.
Because it's harsh. It's harsh.
You went and put red ink.
What are we doing?
Oh my God, that's funny.
You invented a holiday. I haven't had sugar for 10 days. It's all coming together.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, congratulations. That's amazing.
I feel pretty good. And what's interesting is, like, I'm still having like fruit sugar. Like I'll still eat fruit, but I've even started to eat less fruit. So it's like, I don't know, feel decent.
Great. That's good. I feel like this is the reason we're talking about our topic today. You're like, that's, you know, really what I've always wanted to talk about was the history of baking. I was like, oh, okay, let's do it.
And then as I was doing it, it's like, oh, I'm so glad I'm doing this not with cravings, because it's almost like what you talked about, where it's just like, how do you watch these baking shows without eating cake? There's a part of me, it's like, how do you research baking without being like, this is an old invention and we should be celebrating it every day by buying cake from a baker? Like,
I like your plant in the background. Who did that?
Thank you. It's a snake plant. I just bought them.
All right.
Yeah. They're like the easiest plant not to kill. And I'm slowly killing two of my oldest plants. By that, I mean, I got them early pandemic, and the fact that they are still alive is great.
Yeah.
But I guess the lighting in my old apartment was more conducive. I just can't seem to find where they should be. I don't feel like I'm watering them.
Plants are fickle, and I'll kill my plants because of I'm overly like, what do you need? Can I give you more water?
Yeah.
Some water. You want some water? How about water? And it's like, oh. And then, you know, but I've had to like learn to like leave my plants alone, and they seem to be thriving. It's weirdly metaphorical.
As two needy attachment people, plants are really, that's the prescription for our personality, is like, get a cactus, don't kill it,
leave it alone,
and then you'll be cured of codependency.
Exactly.
But it's so funny. So I remember a friend, I was never a plant person. A friend gave me like a little kind of clear succulent garden that hung from the window. And because I liked it, but I didn't have anything else I cared about. So I would just kind of like occasionally remember. So like once a month, once every 2 months, I would water this thing. Didn't know how to water it. And I had it for years. And then I slowly became a little more excited about it. And I killed it within a couple of months.
Succulent.
I cared it. I was excited about it. So then my mom gave me some air plants. I was doing okay. Again, plants. And I've gotten and they're mostly succulents because, you know, we travel and I can't have this every
Oh
day
shit, it's
bullshit.
my internet connection.
Is it okay?
Yes, I can't do anything about it.
Yeah. But the truth of the matter is I'm doing research about plants. Like one of my plants is like was doing amazing and it's been slowly dying for like the last 6 months. And I'm just like, like they're like, maybe you're not watering it enough. So I'm like watering it. Why don't you take leaves and make it look better? But then it just created more dead leaves. And I'm just like, I don't give up on you. And then I was like, this is all a metaphor for my personality. I'm just like, I can fix it. I can fix it. Like I'm like going to my therapist. She's like, what have I taught you about trying to fix things? And I'm like, yeah, I should do it. And then I should just love myself. I'm like hovering over a plant, being like, I love myself. I don't need to fix you.
Announcements?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's time. After you yell about plants.
Yeah.
To our Patreons, thank you. You guys are the best. If you don't know, you can get weekly bonuses, you can get monthly bonuses, you can get stickers, you can be a Google guest, you can control our Googles. There's so many fun options. If you become a Patreon, you can do it for as little as $3. All of it helps us. Patreon.com/2nondoctors, the full word doctors.
Yeah. And you can follow us on the socials. We're on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube at 2nondoctors. It's the number 2 full word doctors. And then on Instagram at 2nondrs. And if you have time and you're feeling kind, please leave us a rate and review it because it helps us out a lot. It helps us get seen. We feel great. We share it on our socials. It makes us really happy. And thank you to everyone who's left really kind reviews so far. They have made our day.
You became a radio host there. Be kind. Rewind. That was we're getting it.
Yeah, man.
And then personal announcements. Me and Maria are doing stand-up and a live 2Non-Doctors December 29th at Union Hall, 7:30. It's in Brooklyn. She'll be in the US. We're doing a live 2Non-Doctors, which we've never done. You should come see us. Do stand-up and do this. We'll have some fun surprises. And I am touring on the West Coast. I will be in Sunnyvale, California, I think January 20th to 23rd. Then I'll be in LA the 25th, Irvine the 26th, and Oxnard. I don't like that name.
Oxnard,
California.
You have to say it in the Aflac voice. Oxnard.
And all the tickets are on my website at lizmealy.com.
I'm doing an hour December 6th, Queen's Head Pub in Islington through Arts Canteen. Tickets are probably on their website, artscanteen.com.
Nailed it. Fan mail?
Yes.
Will you read our fan mail?
Yeah. It's from Daniel. He says, hi, Maria and Liz / Liz and Maria. I like that. He's covering his bases there.
Smart.
I just wanted to write and say thanks. I'm a longtime listener to the Unpops Network and signed up on Patreon about when the pandemic started. Weirdly, not just because of the pandemic, but also I was finally in a place where I could afford it. Your podcast is a gem that I wasn't expecting, and I really like it. In addition to the topics, I really enjoy your dynamic and how you two talk about family stuff too. You guys remind me of my older sisters who are about your age. I'm a little younger, who I get along with really well. So I mean that as a compliment. I just picture him thinking we're going older sisters. Go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself.
Liz is an older sister. So
I have older sister vibes no matter how old anybody is.
That's what I always say. Like you treat the entire world like you're the older sibling. As someone with a graduate degree in the science field that has had to contend with lots of disinformation, I really appreciate the approach you take to getting to the bottom of things and the critical thinking to look at medical stuff in your own lives and all, and that you seemingly do a good job of weighing sources of information and all. Thanks so much. Have a nice weekend. Keep up the awesome work, Dan. That's nice.
I just like nice emails.
Yeah.
I think what made me happy, thank you, Dan. I think what made me happy is just in general, the fact that like when people just get what we do and the fact that we're just trying to open up topics. We're just trying to discuss stuff.
Yeah. Especially people in medical fields or science fields. That makes me feel better. It's like, well,
100%. I mean, the fact that we have doctors and nurses listen, and I'm sure the whole time they're like your friend Tony being like, these morons.
yelling at the phone. I hate you. Come on. Yeah.
But I mean, so there's two types of resources. Like even like I think for my Google, like the website I went to was like stupid, but the answer I needed was frivolous. So it's like if I want a real answer, there are like Healthline is like a real good website. There's like certain websites that have more validity and have more research and what have you. And then there's websites that are like 10 ways to know someone has a crush on you. And you're like, all right, well, that's just a girl making $40 to write an article. Like you can kind of weigh what has validity and what doesn't. And then sometimes even what we're looking for isn't fully medical. It's just like, why is this happening? I just need some guidance.
Yeah. It's like the email was saying, like, I enjoy how you're not complete dumbasses. And I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the perfect assessment. We appreciate you, Dan. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank
And
you.
thanks for writing in. Google's, we'll start with
Yeah.
my dumb Google.
Yes, but can we pause for a second? I have to find my phone, which is where my Google would live.
Okay. My Google is why is my back spasming? And the thing about it is that like I feel like it took me entirely way too long to even know what spasming was or acknowledge that what was happening was a spasm. So like my neck gets stiff a lot, especially when I'm stressed. And I remember telling my dad, he goes, well, as soon as it starts spasming, you have to do X, Y, and Z. And I was like, oh, I don't think my neck is like what is a spasm? And then as I had more, I was like, oh, it's like this weird like contraction. Like I was like, oh, I don't think I was acknowledging what was actually happening to my body or like aware enough. And now I'm like, so basically what happened is like my upper back was like spasming. And I was like, that's what that is. Like at first it was like kind of exciting. Like it was like, oh, I now know what that is. Like I was ignoring that or I wasn't paying attention to it. But it was happening over and over again for 3 days. And it was like, it doesn't like hurt as much as it's just like annoying. But clearly I was like comfortable. So I was just like, why is this happening? I don't understand. And in my mind, this is how you know, like, you're so ingrained in your own life. I was like, I didn't do anything to warrant this spasming.
Yeah.
And then after 3 days, I was like, oh, I did do like a pretty intense like CrossFit workout that I was like, afterwards, I had to just sit there and like catch my breath and like everybody else in a way. And I'm like, I'm gonna need a minute. So I looked up, and this is what I was talking about earlier with like shitty websites. The website I looked at, probably not the best website to look up stuff, but I was just trying to figure out like, is this spasming because I broke myself or is this just my body's reaction? And I think this website really was just like, this is just your body's reaction. So like some of the reasons why your back might spasm is overuse. So it's called skeletal muscle spasm. And it's just a regular occurrence for athletes who overexert themselves. So first of all, I was like, that's probably what it is. I'm an athlete and I overexerted my athletic body. But then there's also like new activities just in general, using your body in a different way can cause this. Dehydration, so just like having low electrolytes can cause spasms. And then this was the sad one. So the first one was like, you're an athlete. That's why your back is spasming. The last one I read was like exercise and probably because you're middle age. Like it was basically, this is something that happens to people when they get older, no matter if you're in shape or not. I was like, I don't like that answer. So in general, I mean, it's just I either overused it or I'm old. That's my answer to this
Yeah.
Google. Is that's why
Likely
my
it's
back
that
is.
you overused it.
Yeah, and I'm also like, so I was doing CrossFit. I did CrossFit for a year and a half, and then the pandemic happened. So I really didn't do much weightlifting, let alone the extent that I would do it for almost over a year and a half. And even now, I'm not doing it to the same extent. Like I was going anywhere from 3 to 4 days a week when I was in town, and I'm down to like once a week and then mostly running. So I think once a week, I just beat the shit out of myself, and my body's like I get like I'll be sore for like 5 days now, where it used to be sore for like a day or two.
Yeah.
So I think I'm building back muscle, but also my body is like, we sat for 2 years. What is
Right.
this? What are you doing?
Yeah. I had like my first acupuncture session yesterday.
Yeah. I
Acupuncture.
didn't know you hadn't done it before.
No, I've never done it before. And it was like a half an hour session. I was like, I'll just try it. Cause I got it through ClassPass, which like I love ClassPass because it's just like a credit-based thing. So you pay into ClassPass and then you can take different classes at different gyms around the city, depending on where you are. So like if
Oh,
I
that's
come to
cool.
New York, like I could potentially like go to a class in Brooklyn with you, whatever. Or if and so like you don't have to just do it on gym classes and stuff. They have it on like massages and acupuncture and everything like that. And I had some extra credits because they roll over every month. So I took this acupuncture thing and it was fine like at first, like my neck and upper back, like it felt really good on my left shoulder. But then it got to my left lower back and I was like, get it the fuck out. It just felt so weird and like this really intense but dull pain. And I just and I didn't like my leg was kicking. I was like, I don't like it, I don't like it. And he's like, you want me to take it out? And I was like, I mean, is this what's supposed to happen? If so, I can get into that mindset. If this isn't supposed to happen, it needs to go.
What did he say?
He's like, yeah, no, you're supposed to. He was like, what kind of pain? Like we talked about like what I was feeling. He was like, that sounds right. Like you're fine. It's just your muscles like working through the knots and stuff. And then he was
Yes.
like, I'm going to do some like adjusting, not adjusting, but like, like playing with the needles to continue to stimulate what was going on. And I was like, all right, I'm ready. And everything was fine. And it got to that lower left back and I was like, God. And then I looked it up and like emotionally, the lower back pain kind of resembles or is supposed to represent like guilt and shame and those feelings. And I was like, ooh, weird.
Yeah. Sir, you're pressing my guilt and shame. Could we take a I'm going to start crying here. I genuinely like acupuncture. I find it one of the I find it more relaxing than massage, and that might be my issues with touch. Where like I like how I'm just like I like acupuncture because it's just somebody like with a needle, and then they leave you alone. Like they put it all in your back or wherever you're getting it, and then they leave. I love when they leave. Like it's part. They're like, "Hey, I'll be back. I'm gonna put on some music," and then I've had um
You've cut out again. Do you know what? I'm going to try to like restart my whole computer.
what'd you Google?
So I Googled like, why can't you punch in dreams?
Okay.
Because like you have these dreams where you're being like attacked and then you try to chase people and or no, they chase you and then so you want to go like and you want to punch them and then you're like weak and you can't do anything, you can't kick, you can't be aggressive at all.
It's almost like when you try to run, but like you're not going anywhere. Or like I have flying dreams where I try to fly, but I'm like going like I'm in mud.
Yeah, that kind of thing. And so it said like Johnny said this actually, and I Googled and it confirmed it, but he was like, it's because like your body, the thing that keeps you from sleepwalking is the thing that's stopping you from like using your motor skills. And REM sleep is what I Googled it, and that's what it said. That was one theory. And the other theory was that you just lack self-confidence.
I love the scientific version, and then I love the like foo-foo, like
You
you
got to
just don't
believe
believe
in
in yourself. Yeah. Even in your dreams, you don't believe in yourself. Remember that. That's how low your confidence is.
But like I used to have anxiety dreams when I couldn't wait tables because I just couldn't get to the table. Like I'd have like a million drinks to get to people and I couldn't do it. And that's not really like being like physically stuck, although it kind of was. But maybe it is a self-confidence thing.
My anxiety dreams, it's always been super weird. If I'm nervous about like comedy stuff, like an audition or something big coming up, I have gymnastics competition dreams,
Yeah.
which is so weird that like even for you having like these weird like coffee shop things clearly has to do with your current life. Like I don't know if it's like your first anxiety or like what that is, but like I usually have, I would say like 8 out of 10 times my anxiety dreams are bring me back to like being 9 and competing.
Yeah, it's weird. But so that's what I Googled.
I think it's the REM sleep, but I really love this whatever horoscope website that was just like, you just got to believe in yourself and you and your dreams will really take off this year.
Well, this kind of reminds me of like lucid dreaming, and how like people like actually attempt to control their dreams and
Yeah.
find their dreams and stuff, which maybe it's true. Maybe it's just like we just need to believe.
that if you control your lucid dreams, you can control your real life. And then, we're no longer in the matrix. We're just out here doing what we want. Isn't that fun? Isn't
Yeah.
that fun, guys? Let's get personal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What smartphone feature would you actually be excited for a company to implement?
Like make up my own feature.
Yeah, or even like my thoughts were like adapting current features, like making them better.
Okay. You go for it.
Yeah. So self-locking apps,
Okay.
like truly like almost like it's both of our favorite videos, like when you pet a cat and the cat's like, no, that's enough of that. Like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
I feel that way with some apps. Like there's certain times, like yesterday, I had so much work to get done. And I found myself just opening every single app, doing nothing. I didn't scroll. I was just opening it over and over again. And I just wish somebody would have been like, you can't open an app 5 times in an hour. That's
Right.
not okay.
Right.
Like I
You
just
need to get on with your life.
like you set it and then you can't undo it unless you like, I don't know, answer some questions or something. I would love for an app to just be like, stop it. You have work to do. What are you looking for on here?
Right. Yeah. Happiness isn't in this app, bitch. Like,
Yeah. It's not even like, it's like, I'm like trying to get like, cause I was looking at my messages and there were no messages. So it's just like, you cleared out your inbox. Good job. It took you a while. And none, like half the messages were like, just delete, delete, delete. But like, I don't know. I was looking for another, like if I was getting this work done, it wouldn't be that I wasn't doing that work. And like we do get like booked on, Facebook and Instagram and stuff. So like it's not completely wrong for me to check it at least once a day. But I was like in a cycle where like every 20 minutes I was like, well, maybe somebody's trying to book me and I'm busy working like an idiot and I could be making money in the future. And it was not the case every 20 minutes.
yeah. This is petty, but it's the first thing I thought of. And I'm sure I could think of a million other better things. But like, I would want my messenger sending system, be that an email like Gmail or like Facebook Messenger or Instagram or whatever, whenever you send a message, it automatically weights the amount of time it took the other person to send you a message back after reading it. Say they read your message.
Okay.
And then they wait like 2 days to get back to you. And I respond right away to everything. And I always get, thanks for getting back to me so quickly. And it's so embarrassing. And so then the app would just automatically just wait 2 days and then they would get their message.
That's really funny. I love that. We're going to make you look busy. App. We're going to make you look as equally as busy. Because you know how they say like a form of connection is mirroring. So that if you were like leaning your head on your hand and then we're talking and then I start doing it, like unconsciously we're like, wow, we're both really relaxed and that's why we're connecting. I feel like it's like, oh, she also takes 2 days to get back to messages. What a busy, straightforward woman that I'm communicating with.
Yeah.
Instead of like
back to me, I'm going to get back right away rather than 2 days later. And then you can get back right away and then it evens out like automatically.
I like that.
It's good for dating too, not that like.
I mean, yeah, although that's where like games start to be played, like in business.
It plays the game for you. That's why it's great.
Yeah. People are like, why you always take 2 days to get back to me? Because you take 2 days. And that's what my apps does. So that's not on me. If you want me to get back to you quicker, then you need to look at yourself. And then the app just kind of goes, look at yourself. It's like a look at yourself app.
Yeah. It's also a hype man app. Because it just goes, yeah, look at yourself.
I like that one. I want my phone to print. Like we can scan, huh?
My phone prints. Oh, like on the phone, like little pieces of paper?
Yeah. I know that's going backwards in a lot of ways because we're supposed to get away from paper, but sometimes you just need a piece of paper. Sometimes you just need some, like,
sometimes you need a tissue. Sometimes you need toilet paper.
because, there's scan apps now and you can send it. Like, there's so many things you can do digitally that's like amazing, but I still want the ability to like print something. And I guess that's because I'm very tactile and I'm very like visual. And like even now, like I've really gone back to paper books. I was on my kind of I had a Nook or whatever, and then I had it was like all my like I do better physically holding stuff. I do better with pages. I'm clearly trying to get away from screens, that I still want the ability to print.
What if your phone 3D printed and then like you're like walking home late at night and you forgot your cat knuckles, right? And then you're like, print cat knuckles, and then it does.
That would actually just be funny in general, or like give me like a knife. Cause like I mean, it's so funny because like 3D printing right now takes days sometimes, depending on what you're printing, could take days. And I love the idea that I'm walking home and I'm like, cat knuckles. And like 4 days later, I'm like, thanks, phone.
A little too late.
A little too late. I'm dead now, but I appreciate the effort.
Yeah, it would never work, I suppose, because it would always be in the wrong hands. There's no way to regulate that.
And it's also like really hard, like it's really loud. So could you imagine like I feel unsafe, 3D knuckles, and it's like
You're hiding.
I'm just like, there's a murderer. So it goes like across the back. Yeah, I know it's stupid. And they do have like little baby printers, like you can, but I want it on my phone. I want to have to buy nothing. Like,
what if your phone just gave you a protective shield?
Oh,
it gave you a protective shield that you can bounce in. So
all your ideas are like 12-year-olds. I love it.
Now you're on a plane and it's crashing. You get the phone to give you a protective bounce shield, and then you just bounce. Or you're like in a bubble, like in the ocean, but they find you, but you just, or if you're like, you're about to get murdered, you just go, and then it has like a protective shield. It's impenetrable,
100% behind this. Second of all, like, what are we doing not having shields? Like, why am I out here? Like the fact that I get in a car and I have airbags, like they're like, hey, when you're in a car, we got to make sure you're protected. Why am I out here like free balling, not protected? I'm not wearing a bulletproof vest. I don't have any knives. Like,
it's crazy. I think about that a lot. Well, like it might be hard to breathe in a protective shield, but we'll have to figure that out. But like, I always think about how like God gave porcupines a bunch of needles to protect itself. Why didn't we get any needles?
Yeah. And this is the thing, is that like, I want to be on the offense. Like, I don't want to be like, I don't want a gun. I have my weapons. I hope I never have to use them. But the truth of the matter is I want if somebody comes up and punches me, their hand gets crushed from this force field. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I want it to be an invisible force field. So like, you kind of look like you're not a scaredy cat. Exactly. And then somebody's like,
you motherfucker.
Like, it's almost the same idea that you like walk into an umbrella. Like, you're like, oh God, yo, raise your force field. What are you doing?
Yeah, you're on stage and someone heckles you and you like bounce into the crowd. They're like, oh no, she's got a shield.
She's got a shield. Yeah, I think that's great. Also, I just think we talked about it, I think in a bonus episode, I'm tired of getting wet under an umbrella. Like a force field really protects you from the rain. Like, why do I need waterproof shoes? Why do I need an umbrella? Why do I need a raincoat? I should have one apparatus that actually does its waterproof job. I should be able to wear any outfit any day, no matter what the weather is, and fucking come out looking badass. Like, I don't want to have to change what I'm going to wear and how I'm going to do my hair depending on the weather. This is fucking 2021. Why is the earth depicting how I outfit myself?
Goddamn right.
Yeah.
I have one more. It's an easy one. Your phone remembers the name of the person you just met for you.
Yes. Yes.
Then you can just look at your watch like, oh, I have to go. See you later, Sam.
But that'd be perfect, because how many times do you hear a name, it's gone? You're like, sometimes you'll like look at your significant other and you're like, did you catch that? And they're like, no. And you're like, it's your only job is to pick up the names that I drop. It's your only job. I brought my brother was with me, and I do this with boyfriends. I do this with any friend. I go, hey, I don't know. I could really play off knowing people's names. I don't know anybody's names. So if I don't go, hey, this is Maria, I have no idea what her name is. So your job is to introduce yourself, like make me look kind of like, oh, hey, I'm Sam. And then, or I'll be like, hey, this is my brother, Sam. And then you go, oh, what was your name again? like just like you missed it. Like that's your job.
Yeah.
You missed it. Like, but my brother could not handle that. It was too much for him.
No, it's a lot of social pressure. Like nobody ever does it right.
My ex was great at it. Like I'd give him the pep talk. He's like, I got you. Like even I have to have a reminder before we enter the party. Like I can't just be in that position. I have to be like prepped and reminded what my job is at this party, and then I can do it.
You ever find that like you do know someone's name, but like just at the moment you're just like, this is shit, you know, you just like, it's just,
dude, how many times hosting where you're like, I know her name's Maria, like I know it's Maria, and then you're on stage, you're like, give it up for her. She's my best friend. She's Egyptian. You just start giving a bio. She's been on Comedy Central, and you're gonna love her. Shahada, Maria Shahada. I knew it the whole time. I'm not a bad person. The craziest part is like the pandemic. Like you have to be seeing somebody every day, and then you don't see them, and you're like, hey, I've known this person for 20 years. Why can I not think of their name?
yeah.
And it just makes you crazy, and it just makes you hate your brain.
Yeah, or all you can think of is their name that they have on Facebook, which is some jumbled version of their name because they don't want to be mixed up for some reason.
Yes. You're like Junebug. No, their name's not Junebug.
Right.
There is a thing where you can go like, you can set it up so you can go, hey Siri, and it's like, yeah. And that can help you find your phone, which I was really grateful because I keep my phone on silent. And even when people are like, you know, when you lose your phone and somebody's like, I'll call it. And you're like, that actually doesn't help me because my phone's on silent.
Yeah.
But it's been just helping with like cooking, where instead of having to have like a dirty hand and press the side and be like, hey, set timer for 20 minutes, I can just go, hey Siri, set timer for 20 minutes. But I still think there needs to be a better, like, even that, like I'm listening to a woman's voice now where like when I lose my phone, where really I just wanted like a car alarm. Like I want everybody to stop what they're doing and it'd be so easy to find my phone. So I want like I want an app or something on the phone that you just have to be like, hey Siri, where are you? And it's like, ah! As it starts crying like a baby.
I'm hungry, you haven't fed me.
You haven't checked Instagram in 20 minutes. Okay, are we ready for topic?
Yes.
Okay. Topic this week is the history of baking. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's because I've been off sugar for 10 days.
100%. 100. As soon as you said that, I was like, all right, someone needs to eat some sugar.
But we did the history of alcohol in the middle of the pandemic, and I found it so funny. And then even we've just been criticized by our little history lessons that I just wanted to like learn more about history. Do you know what I've learned, Muffin, about baking?
What?
Your people, really what I've learned from this entire podcast. And I've always been a fan of ancient Egyptians, like because of cat worship, I've learned but like everything from makeup to like just like working, like everything about it is just like Egypt did it first. Like, you know how they were like, Simpsons did it. Do you remember that old like South Park where like every time they try to come up with an idea, they were like, Simpsons did it. That's how I feel about Egyptians. I'm like, Egyptians did it. Who invented it? Probably Egyptians. Like,
that's a good bet. Yeah.
It was so exciting. I was like, oh, this shit is Egyptians did it. Like, this is like ancient Greece had like, it was like you in ancient Greece, but like, it's kind of your people, like your ancestors.
Yeah.
So,
well, and look how far we've come.
Yeah. Well, also it kind of bums me out, like between like, because there's also a lot of like ancient Roman here and ancient Greece, but like all the places that have kind of died. And I was like, oh my God, we're next. Like, they're going to be like, who invented the original iPhone? And they'll be like, that's a great question, Billy. Ancient United States made a lot of technology, but they couldn't get their shit together and they didn't believe in science. And that's why they are bankrupt and their bridges are broken. So let's move on to how Mars was the first, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. In general, I don't think anybody needs that information, but like baking includes bread, cake, pastries, pies, tarts, quiches, cookies, scones, crackers, pretzels. It's shit you put in the oven. Like, that's what we're talking about. Like, there is like, they do kind of differentiate a baker from a pastry chef, which I thought was interesting in modern day times. But in general, it was unnecessary.
What the fuck?
Was aggressive. But in general, it's shit put in an oven. So
You
That's
sound
what
like
we're
a
talking about.
substitute teacher that was interrupted so many times by the kids that you just couldn't be fucked. You're just like, it's just shit in an oven. All right, everybody, that's
Shit in an
homework.
oven. It's going to be on the test tomorrow. Fucking take notes. I will accept shit in an oven as an answer. So they say the first evidence of baking occurred because like humans took like wild grass and grains, soaked it in water, mixed everything together, mashed it, and then like kind of put it on like a rock plate, like basically like a hot rock. They just like poured this weird liquidy kind of paste and poured it on a hot rock. And I was like, okay, that's almost how I bake now. But like the amount of times that I was like, is this supposed to be soupy? I don't know. Like, I don't know if I'm doing this right. And now I know I'm getting back to my culture of pasty, weird bread.
Yes. That sounds like shit, but I also want to try it.
Of course. What if everything inside of it's great?
Yeah. Did you focus on anything like specifically, or it's just like all of baking?
I just kind of went for like the general, like, how did we come about it and like who started it, and ovens. I went real general. I just like went fun facts of like how we have baking. What did you do?
History of cake.
Oh, fun.
I mean, I just went to the Wikipedia page, but like the word cake itself comes from the Norse word kaka.
Saw that.
Yeah, it's not the greatest word for a cake, but ancient Greeks, they started it with the like they used like flour, eggs, milk, nuts, and honey. It's like all the same ingredients we use now. It's crazy. They use honey instead of sugar. I don't know when sugar came about, but I have heard the history of sugar before. Not that that helps anybody or this podcast. They also had a cake called satura, which was a flat, heavy cake during the Roman period. The name cake became placenta, disgusting, which was derived from the Greek term. A placenta was baked on a pastry base and inside a pastry case. They use beer as a leavener.
Well, that's what I learned, is that one of the reasons ancient Egypt was kind of the people that kind of pushed it along was because they were already using yeast to make beer. So then they were just like, they put it in dough and they were like, geniuses, we're going to fucking be superpowers forever.
You ever wondered what you'd come up with if you didn't have like any references, any internet? You just had like a bunch of dirt and some eggs and you're like, let's see what I can make. I'm already making this shit.
Whenever I'm making anything, I think, who is the person that was like, this should be mixed with this and it's going to make this? Like anytime I make a recipe, anytime I bake, I'm like, who the fuck was like so bored or like hated their life so much that like, we're just putting cilantro in everything and we're going to see what it does. But like everything we have is already pre-made. So it's just like, how much experimenting are we doing modern day? Maybe except for like vaccines, like in medicine. But everything else is like, we already know what it does and how to mix it together. Even I have base knowledge. Like if somebody was like, make a cake right now, I know enough to like grab the flour, grab eggs, grab vanilla extract, you know what I mean? Grab sugar. Like how much of it I can still kind of gauge as well because I've done it enough. But like most people, like even bread, it's just like you could figure it out pretty easily. But like,
yeah, but you look at flour and you're like, somebody had to look at a wheat plant and go, and like it's just like that takes a lot of time to figure out how to, time and necessity. Like if you have time and you're hungry enough, you'll eventually get to flour, I guess. You know, it's just that we don't.
Also nobody's just eating bags of flour, so you had to be like, this needs to be with something wet and then it needs to be hot. Like is that because like how many times have we joked that you could like leave a pan of cookies on the sidewalk or on your windshield and you can make cookies? So it's just like, is that really just somebody that's just like, oh, my wheat, like it rained, I left it outside, and then like, oh, the sun is out. Something happened to my wheat? Like,
yeah,
like popcorn makes sense. I think we all know how popcorn was invented, right?
I mean, I can just guess that like
it has to be corn left in the sun.
Yeah. But tea was like somebody like was sitting under a plant or a tree, and then a leaf kind of like fell into this hot boiling pot, and he was like, ooh, that's lovely. Then they started cooking with tea, and they were like, what if we roasted it? What if we roasted it deeper? What if we didn't roast it at all? What if we added popcorn? You know? Like they do have popcorn tea.
They have popcorn jelly beans. Like things are crazy out there. It's crazy.
Do you ever see the documentary Euro Dreams of Sushi?
I've heard of it. Yeah. But
Really
I haven't
good.
seen it.
You follow this guy who has this like little restaurant under the stairs somewhere, this small little place, but he's like dedicated his life to like perfecting like his sushi. And this is where I think like doing something over and over and over and over and over and like mastering these small things will get you results that like you wouldn't otherwise get to if you didn't dedicate your life to it. And like he's excited, like when he takes days off he hates it and he wants to get back to what he's doing, but like he's like made this, he's like perfected the sushi. It's been a
He
while since
sounds
I
like a
watched the
stand-up
documentary.
comedian.
But I mean it kind of is what it is. Every time I feel bad about like doing jokes. I heard like Jerry Seinfeld talking about this, or was it? No, I think it was Penn and Teller or Penn. So, but he was saying, okay, oh my God, Penn was talking about how Jerry said, but like doing the jokes over and over and over again. But like he said he was watching someone perform and they were doing something they'd been doing for 20 years. And while like you might be snobby about it and being like, you need to move on, like he had perfected this so much. So there's something to be said for like beating something into the ground basically and just figuring it out to its
But also keep in mind, doing the same bit as opposed to doing the same art form is different from making the same sushi as to getting better at making varieties of sushi. Like, you know what I mean? Like to me, we are doing the same thing over and over every day, but like we are growing by doing different bits and experimenting in different situations, and everything is, there's different variables each time you do it.
right.
And that's where the experimentation is, the growth, the chaos. So the same thing with the sushi. To me, it's like if he's just making the same California roll over and over again, that sounds like torture. That sounds like the Rolling Stones just playing the same song every night, as opposed to if he is experimenting and getting better or figuring out how to make it, you know, I don't know enough about sushi, but make the roll tighter. Or, I don't know.
Right. Well, I think there has to be intention. I mean, I think it's like a yoga pose. It's like, you know, the more you do it and the more like you do it purposefully and not just kind of half-ass it, the more you get into the pose and you see it in its truest form and in its most complicated form. But if you're just like, if you're doing a downward dog and not really thinking about it, like you'll never improve the downward dog because you're not like going into the little intricacies of getting your heels down and getting your back arched and like making sure your shoulders are down. And like, there's all these little tiny corrections you could be doing. But I think that's like what anyone who like specializes in something is doing. But I mean, that's different than not giving a shit and like, just like doing the same set for a paycheck, you know?
Exactly. 100%. I focus mostly on bread, which is weird because I can't eat bread. Like,
I don't think that's weird at all. You can't eat sugar right now either, but here we are.
here we are.
You're like, let's talk about it. I miss it.
It's so funny now that I look at my notes. I'm like, oh man, this is, my little heart was like, guys, let's learn about bread. I'm just like crying. First of all, I just want to say that like one of the last things I learned is they just said someone found 1400-year-old crumbs, and I didn't go deeper into that, but I just want to be like, how do you know it's a crumb?
Yeah.
Did they taste it? Stale, like a 14-year-old hundred. Just think of bread, old bread, and you're like, that's gross and stale. 1400-year-old crumbs.
Where did they,
How do
where
you know
did
it's
they find,
crumbs?
where did they find that?
I don't know. I didn't get into it. I just thought that was so funny that somebody's like, we found 1400-year-old crumbs. Who decided it was? How do you know that's not dirt? How do you know that's not a rock?
They probably like tested it
With their mouth. They didn't. Somebody put that in their mouth.
Nasty motherfucking archaeologist or paleontologist. Who knows?
Yeah. It just makes me think of like when a cop is like, you know, it's like the cocaine they put it on their like their teeth or whatever, and they're just like, yeah, this is cocaine. I just see a guy.
That's sourdough.
That's so exactly. Guys, sourdough's been around for 1400 years. I want to talk about it. He just puts it and he's like, I'm putting this in a recipe. The world's oldest oven, discovered in Croatia. They discovered it in 2014. They discovered that this oven was from 6,500 years old. So it's just like this shit's, it's like somebody invented fire and now we have bread. That's how my mind is working with this. That's my timeline. If I had to make an idiot's timeline, it was like fire, bread, like right there, fire, bread.
Yeah. There's some.
They invented fire to make bread. They were like, hey, I bet you this paste would be great if we could make it hot. And they're like, what's hot? And they're like, I got you. Let me show you. So bread baking began in ancient Greece around 600 BC, leading to the invention of an enclosed oven. So that even that, like, bread is what led to us having this enclosed oven as opposed to whatever.
Like a wood fire oven.
Yes. Thank you. I think I really just liked like how it became an art. Like I started getting to the fact that they kept calling it the art of baking. And that just made me really happy. Like every time they were like, well, the art of baking. And then these bakers became like the coolest bakers. And everybody was just, oh my God, it's the baker. Like, you know what I mean? Like I have this whole, like in ancient Rome, there's just like bakers that are like, you know, better than people that are going around being like, that could be bread. That could be bread. Hey, that's the guy that gives me bread.
Nobody likes the tax guy or the rent guy coming around taking your money. Everyone loves the baker though.
Exactly. I don't know. I want to be like an ancient Roman baker. But they basically said in like around 300 BC, like this like occupation of being a baker like fucking took off. And so people would make their own bread and they would sell it at these like outdoor like kind of situations. Then it became like the cart, and then you were going place to place with your cart. But like it was, you started to have like your own seal, and like there's all these like regulations. But like there was a time when being a baker, like you were the coolest kid in class. I love that. I think that's so cool.
Just the rock stars of the ancient world.
Yeah, man. Like the way that we kind of put like celebrities on a pedestal, like you were in a movie, therefore you're cool. There was a time that someone's like, you make bread, you're the coolest. I love that. I love how hierarchy has changed over the years. And I love that bakers had like this time where they were like, I guess in some ways, as we have celebrity chefs and like, you know, what show were you watching? The Great British Bake Off. And then we have like Chopped, and we have like all these kind of like celebrity chef shows, which, you know,
I bet the baker was like the total rock star of the ancient world until the cake chef came around. The patisserie chef. What are they called? The oh my God, what are baked goods called?
Pastries? Are you trying to say pastry?
Pastry chef. Oh my!
You were trying to say. I thought you were trying to say like an ancient word. You were trying to say pastry chef the whole time. Okay.
For 2 years, I've helped you figure out words. So don't.
I thought you were going to say something stronger. I'm the one that doesn't know how to say normal words. I was like, there's no way she's trying to say pastry.
I forgot.
Like, I'm watching the struggle. No,
the baker's getting all these girls. He's like the rock star, and then the pastry chef comes along.
It's like,
totally.
Have you ever thought about cookies? And he's like, what? They're tiny breads, but they're sweeter. What? Also, like for my own selfish needs, like I was starting to look into like, so everything was always yeast based. Yeast was the thing that made stuff rise. And it wasn't until the 19th century that like different like leavening agents started to come in. So like, then baking started to become more common. So it's like even interesting to me that like my body was like, would be like, no to all these breads. But even the fact that I can have most baked goods because they're made with baking soda, like baking soda started to be a thing much later. But yeah,
I made you soda bread once. Do you remember?
You did. Actually, it was one I put it up literally yesterday because it was like one of the sweetest things anyone's ever done for me. Is I was struggling, I couldn't eat bread, and you looked up Irish soda bread. And and it was amazing. It was so good. And then you were trying to teach me how to make it. I wasn't listening because I wasn't a baker then. I was like, you're just you were like in LA and I was still like, you'll just make this for me and mail it to me. It should be fine. Not going to learn a skill on my own, but it was actually like, I was really struggling and really sad. And you were like, we could like, it's almost how we became friends in the sense of like, even like two non-doctors where I'm like, hey, I don't know this. And we're like, let's look it up. Like the same curiosity we had about our bodies. You were just like, well, let's fix this. I'll make you bread without yeast. Cause like in my mind, I was just like, well, I can't eat bread. And you're like, there's different ways for things to rise. And I was like, you're blowing my mind, lady. Blowing my mind. But yeah, I love Irish soda bread. I still have not, I think I made it once after you showed me how to make it. And I was like, this seems like a lot of work.
It's not that much. It's okay. Well, when you come back, we'll make some bread. I'm afraid to call it Irish soda bread now that I'm over in the UK. Cause I don't, there's some things you learn that are super racist. I don't think Irish soda bread is one of them that are super racist that like you don't know are racist when you're saying them in America. For instance, Black and tan is an issue. And actually Ben and
What's
Jerry's
black
just
and
gotten
tan?
to a lot. Ben and Jerry's just got into a lot of trouble for coming up with a black and tan ice cream. So in America, it's just Guinness and like a Pilsner of some sort, like
Oh, it's a
mixed
mixed drink.
together. So that the Guinness is on top and then the other beer is on bottom. But what it really is, it's the name for, and I'm just looking it up now, the Violent Royal Irish Constabulary Reserve Force sent by Britain into Ireland in the 1920s. So I think it's like about an oppressive army going and like killing Irish people. And we're just like black and tan.
It's a beverage. It's ice cream now.
Same with Irish car bombs. A real problem over here. We're like, it's Guinness with Jaeger in it, or what is it? Like, yeah, something like that.
Oh, I don't, isn't it so funny that you don't even think about it? And I think it's great. Like, I think you should be learning about this stuff. But like that first time that somebody tells you, you're like, hey man, they were just words to me. And now you're telling me they have meaning and I'm just grappling with that. Give me a minute.
Let's all forgive me. I don't know.
Give me a minute. First be like, explain it. And then I have to like deal with the fact that my childhood wasn't real and nothing is real and I don't know anything. And then we'll go to the fact things happened and we made a drink after it. Like, give me a minute. That's all I ask. I'm willing to change what I say. I'm willing to like grow as a person, but I need a minute that I've been living a lie.
Yeah. Yeah, no good. But why did we start talking about that? I forget.
I don't know, but I want to learn more about cake. I've been out here talking about bread.
Okay, right. Oh, cake. You know what? We don't have a lot of time, but basically cake's delicious.
We all know what cake is, right? We'll see you next week, guys.
And in the 1950s, they made it like instant. And then housewives were upset because like there was no anything coming from the heart. Because all you had to do was like put water and powder together. And so they were like, this is boring. I didn't do anything. So they were like, all right. So they made it so that you had to add sugar, not sugar, but oil and eggs too.
Yeah.
And then everybody was like, look what I did.
Yeah. Which is funny because as a kid, I was like, oh, I made a cake. And then you don't even realize that you're like, no, you did nothing. You bought eggs and put it with some stuff.
You're like, you want to make a cake from scratch? It takes all of this and it's insane. It has to be precise and the timing has to be perfect. And if you like, I made brownies the other day and you could almost not fuck up brownies. Like they're so easy, but like mine came out cakey. Actually, they turned out really beautiful in the middle, but the edges were cakey and I was upset that they were cakey and I was trying to figure out why. And then I realized it was because like the recipe said to put the eggs in later, but I put the eggs in early because I was like, whatever. But you beat the eggs too much and it starts to rise more. So it's like everything is so precise with baking.
Well, I was learning that it's math, like to where much, like, because that's the other thing is like you put something and they'll be like for 350 for 20 minutes and you're just like, that's what it said to do. So I do it. But somebody had to be like, not at 400, not for 15 minutes. It's chaos. It is bad news bears. I'm telling you, exact temperature, exact timing. So even that, like, I hate that math isn't all that. That's
you're cutting out a lot. Do you want to wrap this up because the internet's been a garbage shit?
We would love. I honestly, I want to know like somebody's like first like baking experience or like how they got into baking or like what they've like. What is something that like a grandmother taught you that like blew your mind about like baking or just a fun fact about like I just want to know. There's so many weird things that I learned just from doing research for this that I want to know what other fun, even like, cause you taught me about the housewife fun fact about how it was like this instant, like, oh, you can make an instant cake. And housewives were like, hey man, what is it? Robots are taking over next. Like, what are we doing here? Don't take away my only job. I hate my job, but don't take it away.
Right.
So yeah, you can write to us at 2non-doctors. What is that, Maria?
That's 2non-fullworddoctors@gmail.com. And yeah, send us some recipes. See y'all next week.
Bye.
Bye.